Ugh. So go ahead and take a nice deep breath in your nose, soft sigh out your mouth. And then as you lay down on your mat, go ahead and gently take those arms up overhead, interlock your fingers, and then work those hands to one corner of your mat. And then take your feet and you're going to work them toward that opposite corner. So you're going to be in a banana shape, if you will. So just kind of stretching out one side of the body a little bit, taking a nice deep breath. And then when you're ready, taking those arms to the opposite corner, and then taking those legs and those feet to the opposite corner, stretching out the other side. Taking another deep breath. And then coming back to center. So arms are straight up overhead, feet are straight out from the body. Take a nice deep inhale. And then go ahead and bring those arms down alongside your body. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to invite you to point your toes and then flex your feet. And then point your toes and flex your feet. Just going back and forth between those two at your own pace. Relaxing, breathing. Trying to be present in this moment. When you're ready, you can allow those feet kind of soften down to the mat. We're going to go ahead and take those knees and bend them deeply as we bring the soles of our feet to the mat, making sure that you have some nice support underneath your low back space. And then from here, you're going to heel toe your feet out as wide as the mat. And then leaving your knees bent, we're just going to drop them off to one side of the body, and then bring them back to center, and drop them off to the other side of the body, and bring them back to center. If you need to use your hands for support, you're welcome to do that. Again, just making this accessible to you in your own time and space. Softening that belly. Relaxing that low back space. Taking another deep breath. And bringing those knees back to center. We're going to heel toe those feet back together and draw the knees in toward our chest. And then rock back and forth across that low back. So some of you may have noticed that I have my I voted today sticker on because today is election day. And with that can come some anxiety, as we were talking about earlier today before we started our video. So today we're going to be trying to incorporate some different coping mechanisms into our practice in order to help bring that anxiety down. So when we're ready, come back to center and go ahead and let those feet fall down to the mat. I'm going to take that right foot up toward the ceiling. Getting a nice stretch on the back side of that right hamstring. Go ahead and take a few deep breaths here, maybe 3 or so. And then here, we're going to see if we can rock ourselves up into a seated position. So that means that you need to bend this knee in order to do that. You're welcome to do that. If you feel like you want to try it with your legs straight, and then kind of rocking yourself up, you're welcome to do that too. We're going to straighten both legs out in front of us. We're going to bend that right knee. So that way the right foot is back by our right hip. Then we're gonna reach forward using this opposite hand for a bit of support. Getting a little hamstring stretch on the left leg first. You know, our breath is one of the ways that we can help bring that anxiety down, just taking a few deep breaths. But we also know that that's not accessible for everybody always. Go ahead and start to walk your hands back to center. You're going to work yourself down onto that left elbow, and then you're going to reach for that left knee with your right hand. So you're feeling that stretch on the front side of that right thigh. So if we, as we move through the practice, if breathing, if that makes you more anxious, or you have a trigger or something like that with your breath, one of the possibilities for you then is just to keep your breath as even as possible. So you don't try to change it, you don't try to deepen it, you don't try to do anything to it, you just try to keep it, you notice what is your breath doing, and then just try to keep it the same. And that often has the same kind of effect for other people who don't have those triggers. When they take a deep breath, it often is a very calming experience. So working yourself back up, we're going to unfold that right leg, bend our knees and round ourselves down, taking those feet down to the mat again. Extend that left leg up toward the ceiling. Again, about 3 deep breaths here. Maybe one more. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and either bend your knee and then rock yourself up, or leave that leg straight and try to rock yourself up that way too, either way. Extending both legs out in front. Find your sits bones and where they can press into the mat, and then bend that left knee. So that way your left heel comes back by your left foot, or your left hip rather, excuse me. And then you're going to use that right hand for support and stretch forward over top of that right leg. If you want to find a little movement in this pose, you're welcome to do that. So as always, you can tuck your chin and kind of arch your back, and then open up your chest and raise your head if that feels good to you. If not, you're welcome to just stay in this pose. And then when you're ready, go ahead and walk the hands back towards your body. You're going to start to come down on that right elbow this time, reaching forward for that right knee with your left hand. Again, pausing, taking inventory of your body. What are you noticing? If you are feeling some anxiety today, where do you feel that or sense that in your body? And then when you're ready, go ahead and start to work yourself back up. Unfold that left leg. Go ahead and bend your knees. Rock yourself down. We're going to take our arms down along our sides. If you'd like, you can spread out your fingertips. And then we're going to do legs up the wall. So we're taking both feet toward the ceiling. For those of you who have practiced with us before, this is the same pose that we do when we're sitting up and we do staff pose. It's the exact same pose, we're just on our backs instead of sitting. So that means that all of the muscles in our legs are engaged. They're all kind of hugging toward the bone there. If we set something across the top of the bottoms of our feet, then we would be able to hold it in place because our feet are flexed. And then go ahead and return your attention to your breath.
Can you straighten your legs?
And then when you're ready, go ahead and bend your knees, draw those knees into your chest, and then go ahead and rock back and forth across that low back. From here, we're going to take our feet down to the mat once again. Bringing those arms down alongside our bodies again. This time, we're going to take our shoulders away from our ears, and then press our feet into the mat, drawing your hips up toward the ceiling for your first bridge pose of the day. So from here, we're going to focus on drawing that belly button in toward our spine. So all of our stomach muscles here are engaged, even through the obliques as well. And then round down one vertebrae at a time. Releasing the tailbone last, drawing the knees in towards center. From here, we're going to start to work the soles of our feet together. And if you can, I'm going to encourage you to grab your ankles and come into a reclined butterfly pose. This is a little bit gentler way to get into this pose, just because from reclined position, you can go, you don't have gravity helping you, so to speak, so you get to control that a little bit more. And then releasing that, taking those feet back down to the mat, arms back down along your sides, pressing the feet in again. This time opening up the chest, lifting those hips toward the ceiling for your next bridge pose. This time I'm going to ask you to draw your attention to the back side of your body. So you're thinking about pressing your feet into the mat. That way you're engaging your hamstrings, your glutes, your mid and low back space as well. You might also notice it in your thighs. Take one more deep breath. And then go ahead and start to relax. Bringing that spine back down to the mat, drawing those knees back into your chest. From here, we're going to release the left foot down to the mat. We're going to take hold of the outside of that right foot and just draw that in toward your body. So we're doing that first because we are warming up the hips incrementally. So little by little. Then releasing that foot down to the mat, returning our arms to our sides. We're pressing our feet into the mat, lifting into bridge pose once more. But this time, we're going to shift our weight so that way it's just on that left foot. And if you can, you're going to raise that right foot up toward the ceiling. And go ahead and bend that knee, bring that foot back down, and then lower down to the mat. Drawing those knees into your chest. If you need to, rock back and forth across that low back. From here, we're going to release that right foot down to the mat, taking hold of the outside of the left foot and drawing that foot in toward our body. Returning your attention to your breath. And then releasing that foot down. We're going to go ahead and Press our feet into the mat, coming into bridge pose once more. This time shifting our weight to that right foot and then extending the left foot up toward the ceiling. Then when you're ready, go ahead and bend that knee, draw that foot back down to the mat, and then lower down one vertebrae at a time, drawing those knees into the chest. Go ahead and rock back and forth across that low back. Take a couple of deep breaths. From here, I'm going to encourage you to take hold of the outside of your feet and then pressing the knees down toward the mat, lifting the feet toward the ceiling, drawing those knees in toward your armpits for happy baby pose. Taking one more deep breath here. And release those feet down to the mat. We're going to go ahead and do a full body stretch. So taking one leg down at a time, taking the arms up overhead, reaching fingertips to one wall, toes toward the opposite wall. Taking a few deep breaths here. And then on your next exhale, go ahead and sweep those arms down alongside your body. And then once again, pointing and flexing your feet, just like we did at the beginning of practice. And then go ahead and relax those feet. Place the soles of your feet on the mat. And then either you can turn to one side and push yourself up to a seated position, or you can rock yourself up into a seated position. Either way. So placing one foot in front of the other, we're going to sit nice and tall. We're going to take our left ear toward our left shoulder. And then tipping that chin down toward the chest. As you inhale, start to tip the right ear toward the right shoulder. Exhale and tip that chin down to your chest again. Let's do that all again. Left ear to left shoulder and inhale. Exhale, chin to chest. Right ear toward right shoulder, inhale. And then tip chin to chest and exhale. Bringing your head back up to center. We're going to take that left ear toward left shoulder again this time, placing our left hand on the right side of that head, just allowing that to add a little bit of a deeper stretch. So you should feel that through your neck, or you might feel that, I should say, through your neck and through the top of that right shoulder. Releasing that hand, go ahead and tip your chin down to your chest again. Coming back up to center, then taking that right ear to right shoulder. We're going to go ahead and take the right hand to the left side of the head, adding a little bit of pressure. Really getting a nice stretch along your neck and shoulder. And then releasing that hand, we're going to go ahead and tip that chin back down to your chest once more. And then we're going to bring that head back up. So from here, we're going to go ahead and We're gonna cross this left foot over top of our right knee. So you might need to kind of tuck this right leg kind of underneath you a little bit more. And you're gonna step that left foot over top. You're gonna pull your knee in toward your chest. Sometimes when we're in a moment of anxiety, it feels good to us to kind of get into a smaller space or a smaller ball. And so this might feel really good to you as we move through this practice. When you're ready, you can go ahead and release that. We're gonna switch sides. So we're gonna take that left leg, fold it underneath us, right foot over top. And then again, hugging that knee into our chest. Again, paying attention to your breathing here. Noticing what feels good in your body. And then releasing that down. We're gonna go ahead and take our left leg out. We're gonna leave our right leg folded in toward our body. And first we're gonna face that long leg and simply stretch over top of the long leg. So this is not just hamstring, but also that inner thigh area as well. I can remember at one point when I was feeling a lot of anxiety, one of the coping tools that I would use is just simply counting. And so I would just start counting, in my head, focusing only on the numbers, just trying to bring myself back to the present moment because I was getting so caught up in my mind and in my heart about what might happen in the future. And so I just had to bring it back to the present moment. Even as I counted, I would focus on the shape of those numbers in my mind and just 1, 2, 3, 4. And then eventually what I found is that I would start to match my breath to those counts. When you're ready, you can walk those hands back to center. We're gonna switch sides, taking that right leg out, drawing the left foot in, and then stretching out over top of that right leg. So often in anxiety, we do get kind of caught in this cycle of what if, and we think about all of the possibilities of the things in the future. And often, if we can ground ourselves in the present moment, then we can realize, oh, I'm actually okay right now. In this moment, I'm okay. When you're ready, go ahead and walk those hands back to center. We're going to switch back to that other side like we were before. And here we're going to go back and forth between our between leaning over top of this leg like we were doing, and then our rock star pose. So to do rock star pose, you're going to take that right hand back behind your right hip as a little bit of support. You're going to lift your hips up, coming up onto your knee and your opposite heel as you arch your back over, opening up that side, setting the hips down, and you're gonna fold forward over top of that long leg. And I'm just gonna invite you to go back and forth between those two. So opening up, and then folding forward. So I would encourage you to inhale as you come up, and then exhale as you fold forward. We'll do maybe 5 or 6 of these. Again, just going at your own pace. And then when you're done, you can meet me back in the forward fold. You're gonna walk those hands back to center, switching sides. So right leg is out long this time, left leg is folded in. We're taking that left hand behind our left hip, and then again, lifting our hips up as we arch our back and over. And then we fold forward over top of that right leg. Again, going at your own pace. Really feeling that stretch. As you arch up and back, you might feel it in your side body. As you fold forward, you might feel it in your hamstrings. Again, maybe doing 5 or 6 of these. And then when you're done with those 5 or 6, you can go ahead and meet me back in this forward fold. Walking those hands back to center. We're going to take both of our feet together, going into our butterfly pose for the day. And you can either bounce your knees or you can fold forward, pressing those knees in toward the mat. Then go ahead and start to round yourself up. Bring those knees back together. We're going to sweep our legs to one side, coming up onto our knees. Round ourselves up. You might need to roll up your mat underneath your knees, so feel free to do that if that is more comfortable for you. From here, we're going to go ahead and inhale our arms up overhead. Go ahead and take hold of one wrist and then pull off to one side. Then go ahead and come back to center, release those arms down. Inhale those arms up again. Take hold of the other wrist and pull off to the other side. Coming back to center, releasing those arms down. And take that right foot out to the side. So we're balancing here on this left knee, right foot. We're going to take the left hand out to the side here. Doing another side pose here, taking the right arm up overhead nice and long. Thinking about opening up that chest up toward the ceiling. Then engaging your oblique muscles through your side here. We're going to go ahead and start to lift back to center, releasing those arms down, bringing that right foot in, taking our left foot out so we can do the other side. Taking that right hand down to the mat, extending that left arm up over top. Checking in with your hips, that they're all in line. So you're not closing yourself off to the side, you're still opening up that chest. The hips are toward the long edge of your mat. And then engaging those oblique muscles. Go ahead and start to lift, lift, lift. Then bring that back in. We're going to tuck our toes and come to standing, coming into our balancing posture. I feel like my calves need a little bit of a stretch today, so why don't we do that first actually before we get into our balancing postures. So let's take the left foot forward. We're going to step that right foot back, and we're simply going to try to press that heel back so that we can get a nice stretch on the calf muscle on that right leg. If you'd like, you can open up your hands to the front, Tuck that pelvic bone down. And stepping forward with the right foot. So we're gonna switch sides. So stepping back with that left. One more deep breath here. Stepping forward with that left foot. We're gonna go ahead and move into dancer pose today. So if you need to move toward a chair or toward a wall, feel free to do that. So we warmed up our legs today already. We've got them all stretched out and everything. So in preparation for this pose. So from here, in our good foundational mountain pose, we're gonna shift our weight to the left foot, drawing that right foot up behind us, and placing the top of that right foot into the palm of our right hand. And again, if this is enough of a balancing posture for you, stay here. But if you'd like to explore it a little further, you're gonna start to press the top of that right foot into the palm of your right hand, leaning forward to counterbalance. Go ahead and release that, bringing that all down, then releasing that foot, stepping out. If you need to shake out that left leg, feel free to do that. Then taking the other side, so shoulders down, your tailbone is tucked, your core muscles are engaged. I'm gonna shift that weight to the right foot, and then draw that left foot up behind, placing the top of that left foot in the palm of the left hand. Again, staying here if this feels comfortable for you, feels like enough of a challenge, or exploring further. So pressing the top of that left foot into the into the palm of your left hand. We're gonna go ahead and lean forward, using that right arm to help balance. Oops. Not coming down as fast as I just did, but coming down at your own rate. And then coming back to center into our mountain pose. We're gonna do our standing flow. So we're gonna step back with that right foot. We're gonna angle it slightly, so more like 45 degrees or something like that. We're gonna lift those arms so that way our biceps are right by our ears. Then we're gonna angle our upper body forward. So this is gonna put a lot of the weight into this front leg here. So we wanna think about drawing a long line from the tips of our fingers all the way down through our bodies and energetically through that right foot. So it's a very strong pose here. Then taking both arms all the way down to the mat. And go ahead and step that right foot back a little bit further, coming into our runner's lunge. Then walking both hands to the inside of that left foot. We're gonna take those hands around to the long edge of the mat as we turn our feet toward the long edge of the mat. So we're gonna come down into a low squat on that left foot. Allow the right toes to come up. Continuing to focus on our breath. Then when you're ready, we're gonna lift all the way up into wide open A and fold forward. Then bending our knees, we're gonna put our hands on our knees and slowly round ourselves up. Turning the left toes toward that short edge of the mat again. We're gonna take our heel and turn it so that way we're again at a 45-degree angle. We're gonna lift our arms, turning toward that short edge of our mat once more. And then step forward, releasing those arms all the way down. One more side, and then we'll get to our cool down. So when we're ready, stepping back with that left foot. I'm actually going to turn around so I can keep facing you all. So stepping back with that left foot, checking our stance. That back foot is about 45 degrees. We're going to lift our arms so biceps are right by our ears, and then angle our upper body forward. So we're drawing a nice long diagonal line from our fingertips all the way through our bodies, down through that back foot. Taking some deep breaths here. When you're ready, go ahead and take those hands all the way down to the mat. Step that back foot a little bit further out, coming into our runner's lunge. Then taking both hands to the inside foot, and then walking those hands toward the long edge, turning both feet, both sets of toes, toward that long edge, and then bending deeply on the right foot, allowing the left toes to come up. Then lifting up into our wide open A, folding all the way forward. Go ahead and bend the knees, hands on your knees, slowly round yourself up, turning those right toes toward the short edge of the mat, and then turning that back heel. Again, so we are in our 45-degree angle back here, bending that front foot, or front knee rather, sorry, and then taking those arms up. Inhale deeply, step forward, and then exhale those arms down. Very good. That was it. So we're gonna come back down to the mat to do our cool down section here. I'm gonna encourage you to take your knees to your chest again. And then when you're ready, you're gonna go ahead and spread those arms out. Drop the knees off to one side. Just focusing on that breath. When you're ready, you can bring those knees back to center and then drop them off to the opposite side. So this is a writing from Morgan Harper Nichols about anxiety. And she says, when you find yourself falling into the pit of anxiety, remember the ladder of hope that reminds you, you don't have to be afraid. There is still a way out of this, and you are still capable, not perfect, but capable. And you have permission to try to climb again, even if your hands shake and your knees are weaker from the fall. You can still trade your fears of tomorrow with hope for today. The courageous decision to climb on anyway out of the pit of anxious thoughts. We don't have to live afraid. So when you're ready, you can go ahead and take one knee at a time back to center, taking our feet back down to the mat, and drawing our arms down alongside of our bodies here. We're going to do a mini cat-cow here in this pose. So on your inhale, You are going to press your tailbone into the mat, allowing the low back to come up off of the mat. And on your exhale, you're going to press that low back space into the mat, kind of creating a little bit of a scoop with your body here. Just doing a few of those, inhaling as you press your tailbone into the mat, and then exhaling as you press your low back into the mat. Then coming back to neutral, we're going to go ahead and take our right leg down to the mat and then our left leg down to the mat. Arms up overhead, just like we started. Taking those hands to one corner and then drawing those feet to the opposite corner, again, just like a banana. So opening up one side of the body, making the opposite side a little bit smaller. And then taking those arms to the opposite side and then allow the legs to follow. Inverting that pose. Taking a nice deep breath here. And coming back to center. And go ahead and move your feet and then your arms back to center. Taking a nice deep inhale. And then exhale and sweep those arms down along your sides. Checking in with your body, feeling the mat and the floor beneath you as it supports you. Reminding yourself that, or reminding yourself of those different supports that you have in your life, whether that's friends or caseworker or an organization or a church. Maybe it's family members, whoever or whatever those supports are in your life. Drawing strength from those in this moment as you breathe. I'm going to read this little excerpt from Morgan Harper Nichols once more, and then we'll take a few moments of quiet. It says, when you find yourself falling into the pit of anxiety, remember the ladder of hope that reminds you you don't have to be afraid. There is still a way out of this, and you are still capable. Not perfect, but capable. And you have permission to try to climb again. Even if your hands shake and your knees are weaker from the fall, you can still trade your fears of tomorrow with hope for today. The courageous decision to climb on anyway, out of the pit of anxious thoughts. We don't have to live afraid. So we'll take just a few moments of quiet, and then I'll call us back together. And start to bring your awareness back to this moment. Wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe roll to one side that feels intuitively right to you. And push yourself up gently into a seated position. And then if you like, you can place your hands on your heart or in some other comfortable position, and let me pray for us to close. God, thank you that you help us to climb out of the pit of anxiety. God, thank you that we can keep trying even if we're still shaking, even if we still feel those feelings, Lord, that we can keep trying. God, would you bring to mind today the hope that you have for us, that we don't have to fear tomorrow because tomorrow has enough worries of its own. Lord, would you be our provision in these present moments? We love you, and it's in your name we pray. Amen. Thanks for joining today.
No, that's okay.
That's right.